Hello.
What up? What up?
How's it going, buddy?
Doing all right. Hanging out in Brazil.
Nice. I know this is what the kids do now.
Hey.
But no, they got two right by the
Two
face.
hands? Okay.
Right up by the face. I think it's a Japanese animation kind of thing, like the anime thing.
I think
And
I
I'm
got one of
noticing
my
the kids
dogs
now.
doing that.
When the kids really like something, I notice they go like this, right by their face. It's cool.
I think
Yeah.
I
So
got
you're.
one of Samantha doing that.
Oh, I bet you do. The kids dig it, my friend.
Yeah.
I was just teaching them over the weekend there, and it was awesome. And they were like, "Yeah, we like you, Chris. So you get one of these." I like that.
It's funny that you reminded me of that because I just somebody today was asking me about the kid, and I was like, "Well, she's 14 now, and this is what she looks like."
Mm-hmm.
And it was a funny kind of thing.
It was the double thumbs up.
It was
Which
a
the kids
double.
like to do.
I've got it. I've got to bring it up now. Now that you've brought it up. Well,
Of
it's
course.
close. It's not quite crossed over, but it's close.
Yep, there you go. That's just the littler ones put it right up by their face, like
Yeah.
like this. I that's got to be like a Japanese animation kind of things. They love the anime. So you're in Brazil. What's going on in Brazil?
Brazil doing the shows of in stadiums with things, you know.
How are the drugs?
Well, I wouldn't dare venture out to ask. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that'd probably not be the right thing to do.
It's it's a murdery kind of place. There's 45 million people located within 8 blocks, so it's not too bad. Mind you, I'm in a good part of town.
That's good.
Last time I was here, I was deathly ill.
Ooh.
I think I don't know if I've told this story to you before. Possibly. I'll do it really quick. Deathly ill, got food poisoning. Same hotel.
Pooping. Yeah.
Had to miss a show. First show I'd missed in 20 years. Biggest show ever at that point. Just crazy. And it was 2 shows. So it was like 100,000 people over 2 nights. It was just nuts. I was like, and I had to miss them both. So I finally get the strength to go to the local store to go get Gatorade and a piece of bread. That's all I could muster up because they just didn't have anything here that could help me. So I walked there. The guy at the front desk says, "Don't give the kids money. See a kid on the street. Don't give him any money." I said, "Okay, I won't give him any money." But some dude at the store gave these kids money. And I'm walking back very slowly. And I hear this scream at the top of my lungs. And I look. And those kids jumped the dude that gave them the money.
Oh.
And
that's
there was
gratitude for
they're
you.
like 8-year-olds. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're like street kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
So this guy couldn't take them? What the hell's his problem?
well, I'll tell you,
I'm
this,
joking.
a knife's a knife. If it's an
I know, I'm
8-year-old or a
joking.
50. But the gag was for me was like it wouldn't have taken 8-year-olds. One 8-year-old would have did me in that night. That's all.
Oh, damn.
And I was walking around. I still can. Like, during the day, it's okay. There's like about 4 blocks I can walk here safely. It's not that bad. You talk to the locals, they're like, it's a bit overrated, but it is bad. Like where it needs to be, where it's bad. And I walked down, got some great coffee today. Just kind of took a walk, and I walked past the spot, and I'm like, geez, this is like where the guy got taken out. And then I looked at the geography, and I'm looking at it going, man, I was only a block and a bit away from the hotel. They would have caught me for sure. Like there's no way they wouldn't have caught me. So I was hoping for a better Brazilian experience this time, and so far so good. So
Right. What's the alcohol like there? Is there? I guess you don't drink it, but what's the specialty in Brazil?
beer and alcohol.
Cerveza?
It's a cerveza full on, South American.
It's not like a
kind of-
tequila or anything.
Yeah,
or
no, they kind of just do. Like it's in my experiences here, because the last time I was here, I was drinking. They had everything you needed.
Right.
The bar downstairs has. There's not like some specialty agave plant or anything here. That's all in Mexico. But
And is Marvel movies? Is Marvel like popular there in DC? And like what are kids wearing the T-shirts, or is it all like striped shirts?
I didn't see it. I saw a lot of Metallica shirts.
Oh wow, okay. So heavy metal. Like they're just hearing Master of Puppets now. Is that what's going on? Or am I being harsh Brazilians? I'm joking.
No,
Sorry,
but
Brazil.
you know what's funny is that and I touched on this before. Like I actually wrote an article for Crier Media about this. You know, we're outside of the murdery part of the world. We're all the same. Like these movies come out everywhere. Everyone's the same. They still go to the park. They still try to feed. They take their kids for this. The guys go to the pub, go to the bar. Like everyone's the same.
Right.
Absolutely,
That's good to
everywhere.
know, right? That's
so
good to know.
These movies are pretty big down here. Yeah.
Okay. So, like the culture, like the kids. Have you seen are the kids wearing Spider-Man T-shirts? Like wherever I go, in Canada here in Kingston, there's somebody wearing a Marvel T-shirt, a kid or an adult or something.
I didn't. I haven't seen much, but I haven't been in a kind of area. It's a bit.
Okay.
It's a bit like a couple of nice hotels here, some high rises, and some businesses.
Yeah.
So it's not a very like family area. Perhaps tomorrow I'll see a handful in the crowd because I get all kids there.
Yeah, and Brazil likes to rock and roll in their metal, right?
Whoa. Do they ever?
Yeah, that's
they do.
cool.
They
that's
really
cool.
do.
And they get it regularly. It's not like a special occurrence for them or anything.
Well, I mean, they're just firing back up. I mean, March of this past,
So this is
1 year ago they did their first show.
right. Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So they've done a handful. My buddy's running Motley Crue and Def Leppard, and they're down here, and those shows are doing okay. It's a whole different thing down here. The rock is like, they sing the guitar solos down here. Like they know every nuance of every
I love
single
guitar
thing,
solos.
but they sing them. Right, so every little like if there's a drum solo, they're in the crowd going like you know what I mean? Like it's full on. Like you've never seen anything like a crowd down here. It's really the best. This and the Spain crowds and things like that. No matter what act you're with, they just sing everything.
Wow, that's really cool.
What I mean? It's pretty crazy
really
to watch. It's no wonder that the bands love to come to these because. It makes them feel incredible. It makes them feel incredible.
The weather's nice there, also, isn't it? Isn't it really
warm?
We're
running a good 30 degrees today.
Yeah. We're like the end of February here, of course, in Ontario, Canada, where everything's just getting sloppy and muddy and gross, and you just want to fast forward a month and get into the barbecue season and cutting the lawn and putting the fertilizer out there and getting the garden growing and stuff. But so there's a little bit of the February blahs going on here. So I thought I'd cheer myself up by giving you a little bit of a Seinfeld quiz off the top here.
Sounds great. I keep missing the snow, by the way. There's a 2 foot snow in Vancouver.
Oh, and you're that's too bad, huh?
I've missed it all. I've missed it all year. All year.
When it started, we started off here really heavy. We've had consistent snow, and it's funny because off the hop, I was telling a couple of my students, I don't have a lot of them, but like, dude, when I was young, we had so much snow, and then it seemed like the next day, it was just like, well, we kept getting hit with snow. My mom likes Metallica, so it's immediately not cool. Yeah, I know, right? Well, Ashley, when I stopped liking it was when the dudes that were beating me up started listening to them. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, we touched on it last week, Chris, because Slayer and Megadeth all talked about that, about how they don't have a Nothing Else Matters, and everyone ripped on them, but they all needed Metallica for the big four.
Yeah,
they all
of course,
they all needed to bring them into it. So, I mean, people can rip all they want, but you gotta. I'm not saying you gotta have some hits, but I'm sure. I'm just saying. I'm sure Dave Mustaine wishes he had a handful more.
Oh, I know he does. Of course,
songs on the radio.
When I'm driving down the road, I still listen to the radio, and when I'm driving down the road and I hear, "Hey, it's new Metallica," I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just.
Ashley wants to play Seinfeld.
No, we're going to Seinfeld. Don't worry, we're going. No, I love these conversations because I feel the same way, and it's nice to have somebody else. Because I grew up with Metallica, and now I'm like, I wince. It's like, oh, Metallica, okay, cool. But what do I want to hear? Like, what do I want to hear? Like Mr. or something? I have no idea anymore. My musical taste is like craziness.
I know. The thing is, though, you don't listen to any of the new stuff, but I will say this, man.
No, I do because I love Machine Gun Kelly. You can't say that because man, Machine Gun Kelly is, and now I'll admit it all the time. I don't care. But dude, I'm like. I really love that. My daughter got me the album, Welcome to My Downfall, or whatever that is, for Christmas. And so I have the vinyl downstairs. So, dude, I just love it. I really dig a lot of those tunes. But you know what it is? It's all this. For one thing, I love that drum beat. That is like my favorite drum beat. And secondly, Travis Barker, man, like that's. He put it in there and he just sang over top. But regardless, I do like that as new music. I just have a hard time wrapping my head around the newer metal. I don't know. I always find there's older metal that I could listen to that I would find better. But no, I good segue there. I like the old Metallica conversations because I'm questioning my musical taste these days, and I don't know if I'm going crazy or if I just listen to music too much. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's tough to find. I mean, I always go searching all the time for new stuff. Just like I'll have it on Apple, and I'm traveling so much. I'm like, I got to find something. So I'll always put on. I have an app. I have Apple, and I have Apple Music. So I will. They do curate some pretty cool like new and rock playlists, new and hard rock. So I will listen to all of them, and I have found a handful of bands that I'm like, oh, this is really cool. This is cool. But none of them have any staying power. They're all like one
it's tough,
song, and the
dude.
record's okay. It's there's a great band from New York called Moontooth, which I love. Those guys are like super deadly. But the singer, they were just about to blow up. They were produced by Mark from Lamb of God, the guitar player. They're fucking deadly. But they were just about to blow up, and then the guitar player had a stroke.
Oh, jeez.
And he had to relearn how to play everything. So
Oh my gosh.
just putting it back together.
That's horrible.
And he's like a super progressive player. Like he's super like, tons of shit going on. So that's like, you just find one and then it goes away and you're like, God damn it.
Wow.
So, but to back to the Metallica thing for a minute. I mean, I don't think, you say Save Saint Anger, which everyone hates.
Right.
I think they've made a pretty conscious effort over the last couple of records to put out some good shit. They've got some really good
I wouldn't
songs.
even know. Yeah, I wouldn't even know. I can't get past the verses and whatever's going on in there.
Sure.
But to bring, sorry. So I did want to mention this to you just in passing, but I'll mention it on the air here. So I heard the new Smashing Pumpkins, and again, listening to the radio, driving along, new Smashing Pumpkins, and I was on a drive to the Res, so I was on like a good half-hour drive on the 401.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, dude, here we go, cool. Have you heard it yet? Just curious.
Yeah.
I couldn't find a hook in the damn thing.
No, they made.
Or did I just not hear it at the wrong time?
No, they made another double record.
Okay.
And so there's like Billy kind of went for it again. There's a handful of rock songs on there, but there's not. But it's
but not even a riff like the it was just like there was no hook to me. I could be wrong. Maybe I need to hear it again. Music's like that, right?
There's a couple. I was
curious about what you
couple
thought.
of songs on there. I
didn't know it was that big. I should have got the name of the song. I thought it was like, okay, here's the new Pumpkins, and it was just like this one song that was released. I didn't realize it was a big double album.
They've got
a big deal.
They got a whole album out, and it's like there's 33 songs on it.
And this song's just like you know when you do the one note and it's just kind of like that, and he sings and I'm waiting for the hook to come in, the Corgan hook, right?
Hold on.
And it just didn't come in.
I'm gonna this one.
Yeah, this one. Dun 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 dun. It's Dr. Feelgood.
Right.
Yeah, and it doesn't go anywhere. To me, I don't know, man. Am I wrong? Maybe I need to hear it again. Because I was stoked when it came on the radio. I was like, oh, here we go.
He's got a third record coming out. So this is another one. I'll turn the mic.
Well, so I can hear that. That's pretty rad. Like got a riff. Now that's a little better. That reminds me back like in the old Gish days and Simon's Dream kind of thing, right? Like that's pretty cool. Dun, 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 dun. The first one, dun, dun, dun. But dude, when you get it, dun, 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 you got to try harder. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, dun, 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 does not cut it anymore.
I just saw it a little. I was supposed to tour with it this year with Jane's Addiction, and then I ended up on this. And I went and saw it in Vancouver, and I was like, okay, let's go. And I've come to the conclusion that the Pumpkins would be incredible in a theater and a club.
Yeah, well,
and that's it
for sure.
That's it. It just doesn't work in the arena setup. It just does. It doesn't work from that standpoint. From a support act, I'm sure bang out an hour worth of hits, but like a headlining thing, pulling them in, it's broody, it's dark, which is fine. James Iha, but it's really, really, really static. Like no one's moving, no one's doing anything, and I'm like, give me something.
Yeah.
Like, but maybe in a theater, it would be rad. Like the Tea Party were like that. The Tea Party were like in a club were just like sonically like, Jesus, you don't need them to do anything because it was like, holy shit. Like they just would take, and that's what I think the Pumpkins kind of fall into. Sonically, it would be incredible. I didn't buy it into it in the arena, unfortunately. So.
Yeah. Well, I was just disappointed with that new song. Okay.
There you go. Let's go. Seinfeld trivia.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a quote and you're going to tell me who said it.
All right.
I lie every second of the day. My whole life is a sham.
That's Costanza.
Yeah, you got that one. There you go. Good job. Good job. Good job. Okay. I can't be with someone like me. I hate myself.
Jerry.
Man, you nailed that one too. Okay.
That's when he was with Janine Garofalo. That's the episode with Janine Garofalo.
Okay. Sex. That's meaningless. But dinner? That's heavy. That's like an hour.
So I know. I just sex. That's meaningless. Dinner. That's like an hour. I want to say Elaine.
It's Jerry again.
It was, but I think it was Jerry. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, sure.
Well,
you
it was no. But it would sound like
after
something
I
Elaine
heard
would
the
say.
answer, I was sure it was Jerry.
Yeah.
Maybe the dingo ate your baby.
Lupper or Linner. That was Elaine. That was Elaine.
That's a good. Yeah, that was a gimme on that one.
Let's give.
Right?
I got to give Ashley some love here because she's got the Lupper or Linner, which is great.
Lupper
or Linner. Great one. Love that episode.
That is a good one. Okay, I got one more for you. People on dates, huh?
Only one?
Yeah. I'm not gonna take up too much of your time. People out on dates shouldn't even be allowed out in public.
George.
No, Jerry again.
Fuck, Jerry again. Okay. Yeah, I got there.
See, I threw in a whole bunch of Jerry there just to kind of throw you off, and it worked, huh? It totally worked. It totally worked. What's your favorite episode of Seinfeld of all time? Can you pinpoint one?
Kenny Rogers Roasters.
Oh, that is a good one, isn't it? Yeah, that is a good one.
And him and Kramer switch apartments, and it's got such great lines.
Yeah.
He goes, you close that thing, I'm gonna be back in there with the red menace. Because the red light was coming through. But more importantly, it's got the best, one of the best lines in Seinfeld canon, which is when Jerry's like, I got a better idea. Why don't we just take these walls down and we'll just have one giant big apartment? And Kramer's like, you can't rip these walls down, Jerry. These are load-bearing walls. Like, it's just the greatest line ever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Reverse, that's as good. That is good. I like
yeah,
that.
the reverse, the Kenny Rogers Roasters, I think for me is number one. I just love everything about it. He's like, Seth, come on, Seth, Seth, it's me. Let's go. And he quits his job and he gets fired. He has to go work at Kenny Rogers, and then Newman's hooked on the chicken. He gets Kramer hooked on the chicken. It's just fucking great. It's
Newman was a really good character, man. What a great arch nemesis for Jerry. That was so funny.
And I think the not as funny, but the one when Elaine has all the new friends that are exactly like
the
those
Bizarro
guys,
World.
The Bizarro World. And it wasn't quite funny, but
really
it was
good.
like, the apartment's the same. She goes and, Farkas.
Yeah, man.
The FedEx guy is Farkas.
Yeah.
Not,
not Newman. No, that was a really, really good one. I love Seinfeld so much. Yeah, I've seen it so much though. How many seasons was Seinfeld?
9. 9,
yes. And in today's standards, you need 15.
It was 9, and then if you can go online, because in a couple of years ago on Curb Your Enthusiasm, the whole arc of that season was Larry trying to get a Seinfeld reunion to happen.
Right.
So they actually, the whole cast is on the whole season, and this is after Michael, kind of a couple of years after Michael Richards, after Kramer did the whole racist thing. So he had been out of the public eye. So this was the first time. And there's a great line in there. I don't know if he's ever seen Curb Your Enthusiasm, but Larry has like a Leon, the black guy that's never left his house. He just stays there for free and stuff. And he opens the door or something to Kramer, and he's a black guy, and Kramer's like, I've already said sorry to you people. Like, it's just like this really funny line. And what they end up doing at the end of Curb Your Enthusiasm is they actually show you little bits of that episode that they put out, and then you can go on YouTube right now, and someone's cut it together. And the whole thing is George lost all his money to Bernie Madoff. Elaine's got a kid, but out of wedlock, and she's texting all the time, and Jerry hates it. Like, there's all this great stuff in there. So there's actually, it's season 9 plus 1 bonus episode.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. I wasn't aware of that. That's cool.
Ashley says it was canceled on Ryan's birthday and broke his heart.
Really?
Well, great thing. It's on. You see, here's the thing, Ash, and all Seinfeld people. They said, we don't want it to get too stale, so we're canceling it. And everyone's like so sad that it's not around, right? But if they would have went into like 13 or 14, would be talking about like, oh, they should have stopped after season 9. Like, should they have stopped after season one? Like Married with Children up to about season 5 or 6, and then they brought the kid into it, that little kid 7, and then the whole thing went out to shit, and people were like, they should have stopped around season 6.
Yeah, the level of writing is a little different though between Married with Children and Seinfeld. But I hear what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying.
Like, when should they have stopped?
But I don't know. Well, they're pretty smart. They're pretty clever. I think they should have did personally is they should have just took a break and came back to it. Take a break for 5 years and then dive back in. They're out of jail, and then let's try again with fresh minds. And I bet you they would have nailed it. The other thing I didn't understand with The Office, I would have loved to seen Dwight, but I mentioned this before, and somebody mentioned that they did try Dwight, but not running the office, but Dwight on his farm, because his brother and his farm and everything he did was so funny. But I don't think you could do a spin-off from Seinfeld. I think you need all those guys.
You need them all.
And girls in there, exactly.
And nobody's had a hit since. I mean, nobody had a hit since. Elaine.
Well, she's pretty popular, man.
She's done well
in Marvel now too, right? She's gonna be big now
with Vice and
Veep or whatever that is. Yeah.
And she did
She's
well.
Always done well though, man. Like with the Christmas Story, or not Christmas Story,
Christmas
Vacation movie, and just other things that she's been in. She's always been spectacular. She's a really good actress. Really like.
But then Jerry puts out comedian. And the crazy thing is comedians in cars getting coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, it's the silliest concept, and now it's blown up to like this amazing show. And he only did 3 or 4 seasons of that, and he's like, I'm gonna stop that as well. And people are like, now
he got bored.
You know what I mean? Ashley says her favorite one was when Jerry can't remember her girlfriend's name.
Mulva, that's funny, huh?
Dolores. Yeah.
That is a good one.
It's awesome.
That is a good one.
And then and the final episode takes a lot of shit.
I was gonna say, did you like the final episode?
I mean, I don't know what else they would have done. I think the concept of the fact that, they're hated by everybody, and they bring everyone who hates them in there to put them in jail and ultimately convict them. I thought it was a great way to get everyone into the show, because how are you going to have a season finale without bringing kind of everybody into the show? Right. And you can't do the Newhart thing like it was a dream. You can't. Yeah. There's so many kind of things that they could have done, but I didn't hate it. Obviously, people were looking for gold and looking for it to be like the funniest thing ever, but it was just kind of a last ditch effort to get everyone to get their bits in,
Yeah, try and tidy it up and do that joke one more time at the very end, right?
And the fact the judge's name was Art Vandelay, like, come on.
Yeah, well, that's the best. Easter eggs, those are good. That's good stuff.
It was great.
That's good stuff.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. You're a very, very bad man, Jerry. Very, very bad man.
There's one. Tell me to change restaurant. No one comes.
Yeah, that's a really good. There's so many good episodes. There's a line. There's a line. Very good. Very great. I use that line just almost every day when that's really good. Very good. Very great. Yeah. I like that line.
When they got into it like that, if you watch that season 1 where they're still trying to find their way, but when they got to the end of season 2, but season 3, man. Like Newman, like, and Kramer taking all the cans to Michigan for recycling. God, yeah. But after Jerry's car got stolen, and then we lost the fat man and we're running lean, like kick him out of the thing, and then it starts like, or Kramer, like there's some great Newman stuff there, because when he gets kicked
Newman
out,
was awesome.
When he gets kicked out, he does the big scream when he gets kicked out. Like, that's just a classic. Yeah. And then the other one, when Kramer adopts the highway and he paints all the lines over. Yeah. And Newman runs over them and blows his truck up. Like, it's just fucking, come on.
And the thing I love about George is any task you give him, he screws up. Remember the one where he's supposed to park all those cars out front, and Woody Allen was filming a movie in the same time, and
those pretzels are making me thirsty.
Oh my gosh, those pretzels are making me thirsty.
You could just go on and on and on. And then the only time where George was really like together is when he stopped having sex.
Yep. Yeah, and him and Elaine switch spots, right? Whee! She's watching the tires go around. Whee!
I'm George.
Which I'm going to say that doesn't work that way with me. Just saying. So let's get into some on that note, how about some WWF or WWE? So I stopped watching WWE wrestling.
Sure.
Just because every time I turned it on, I'd see like a McMahon's face, and it was ridiculous, and I don't know why, and I don't like his face. I turned it on because I have the Sportsnet package, right? Because on a sidebar, Leafs are all in. Go Leafs, go! So I decided I'd take advantage of the whole package, and I watched some of this WWE wrestling. And I threw on. There was a pay-per-view on, and Sami Zayn was in it, and it was this big Montreal connection going on. And one of our members from Crier Media was there as well, right?
Karima, and it looks like she's going to join us. Hold on, I'm going to send.
Oh, it's amazing, right on? Because I'd love to hear about how
I'm going to try to get
was.
her. I'm going to try to get her. This kind of happened quick. And
yeah, no
Karima.
problem.
Sorry, Karima. Where is she? I don't know if I've got her email in here anymore.
That's all right. So, you want me to keep talking about what I was doing there?
Talk comics for a second.
Well, that's a whole other. I'll talk wrestling because I started watching the WWE because I have it on my pay-per-view dealie there with my sports package. So I thought I'd start watching it, and I dug it, but. I really dug the ladies wrestling because the last time I really watched WWE wrestling, the ladies division was pretty much non-existent. And wow, those ladies are amazing. I one comment to make off the hop is the comparison between like Lita Ford and Lee Aaron, the 80s metal queens, to what these ladies look like, man. Like, oh my God. And the hair, how do they wrestle with that hair flying everywhere, not getting it stuck? Like, mind you, I find it very alluring. It looks amazing, but holy wow. So I was just like, kind of like, just shocked by the whole thing because I haven't seen like in the AEW it's pretty rad too. It's pretty rad too. But WWE is a spectacle. We all know WWE is all about the show, right? And I thought the ladies wrestling was fantastic, dude. Some of the like Beth Phoenix, I watched her with Edge with her husband there in a it was the chamber match where they let the people out and So this is what I'm watching, man. And I think this was the pay-per-view, right? With Sami Zayn and everything.
Yeah, so her and Edge against Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley.
She's so tough, but she looks so like she looks so feminine. And I just love the powerful women aspect with the way it's very comic book to me. To me, it's comic book meets 80s metal queens. Yeah. And you got me on both angles. Like you see my hair is in unison tonight for the 80s metal because my gosh. And of course, the other ones too. Well, Becky Lynch, I guess she's responsible for bringing it back, as you mentioned.
She's definitely part of it. I'll show you a clip here in a second.
Yeah. She impressed me too, and she's back with Lita right now. I guess doing a tag team with Lita.
I think Stratus was supposed to come in on that. So it's WrestleMania season, so this is where they start bringing.
It's a month away, right?
They start bringing some of the, the people back in, and it gets a little bit like
Rhea Ripley. Also, man, she's all like, she's with Rey Mysterio's son, but she looks amazing with the black hair and the black makeup, and just like I just want to draw them. And when they freeze frame them in the air, like doing punches and stuff, it's the hair, dude. Like it's just, and what's her name there? Who's the man on the Mandalorian?
Sasha Banks.
Oh my God, her hair is that blows my mind because it's green to blue to whatever, and it's it's like from another planet. It looks amazing. Well, so the spectacle of it really blew my mind, and how talented they were was just incredible. Like they're really beating the crap out of each other pretty hard inside and outside the ring. The athleticism I can see is way different than it used to be. The punishment they take, and they look like they're in a lot better shape too from when Fabulous Moolah was in there wrestling, right?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, the thing is like even when they try now, like so it went away for a while. You had sort of Lita and Trish, and it was like this thing that was like, and there was a handful of others around at that point.
Right.
I did actually. I sent it to Twitter. What do you call it? There was a handful of like Molly Holly and sort of Kelly and all these kind of girls that were kind of part of that.
Yeah.
But as athletic as they were, but Tori Wilson, Sable, that was kind of coming into that kind of side. They were at that point more. Maybe modelly that got a chance that happened to be athletic, and then we're
Sable especially
taught wrestling, but Lita and Trish.
No, Lita and Trish were very, very
impressive. We're like, geez, what's going on? And so then it took a break for a while, and then
it did. See,
I think
Because
what
I guess it
happened.
got really violent. Is that the violent era, like, or what do they call that? The
No, there was it's
attitude
like
era.
the dead puck era. Well, a bit because they were kind of used as like sexual
That's what I mean. They weren't
things.
fighting
You know
as
what I
much.
mean?
It was like a tear your dress off match, and
Yeah.
that's pretty demeaning. That's
but
when
it
I
was
kind of
the-
lost interest in it, right?
But what happened was luckily for
Strangely.
everybody, what happened luckily for everybody is Ric Flair had a daughter. And Ric
Yeah,
Flair's
she's in
daughter
there too. Oh
is,
my gosh.
and she's like literally the best. And so
Right.
what
Okay,
happened
there you
was
go. Yeah.
is these
Gotcha.
these four kind of came along.
Okay.
And they were in, and there was two things that started this. NXT.
Yeah.
So the NXT had, a certain amount of talent, but they focused so much of their attack on the women that were in the company, and you were getting these matches over at NXT between, Becky and Charlotte, and all this kind of. You're just getting all these 5-star matches, whatever anyone's version of a 5-star, but you were getting these stories over there, and no one on the main roster was really watching. They were kind of watching NXT separately. And so what was happening was you would get these during WrestleMania, SummerSlam, all these kind of pay-per-views. NXT would host these Friday night takeovers or whatever they were called. And that's when you saw the rise of like Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano. All these guys were coming through that were like, holy shit.
Yeah, and the
all these
Shield
guys-
came up through from NXT as well, right? Yeah.
So you were getting all these things, and what was happening is that the women were putting on better matches than the men because they were just fucking killing it.
And
so-
looking better doing it. I might, as I say, like they got the wardrobe, everything. They're like real life comic book superheroine or heroes or heroine, whatever everybody prefers me to say.
And it was just something else. And what happened was it as it was progressing, then you had in WrestleMania when The Rock kind of came back and did something, and Triple H and Stephanie
that's enough.
we're kind of yapping off about Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey's awesome.
She comes, and this was like
She's awesome.
another 4. You got Shayna Baszler in the middle. She's in there now. The other two, they didn't really do anything.
The tag teaming up. I see Ronda Rousey isn't doing singles anymore. She's tag teaming up. So I guess they do that to keep him in the spotlight, right? They got to do something to keep him going. So I get it while the others are going.
They kind of started this thing with WrestleMania. Ronda gets in the ring, she beats up Triple H, and then that starts a whole thing. Then Ronda gets in with Kurt Angle and beats up Triple H, and people were like, wow, so all this stuff was happening at the same time as these 4 that were absolutely killing it, and Sasha and everybody. And then what happened was there was this kind of rise, the way Daniel Bryan and the Sammy rise was happening in the women's thing, where people were getting behind Becky Lynch. And she took a punch or a headbutt to the face on SmackDown and kept wrestling, but she cleaned house and just leveled the place, and then went into the crowd and stood on top of the crowd looking like this.
Holy shit, there you go.
And that turned her into a superstar.
Wow, good for her.
Right there. This was the moment where she became Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I get you.
Like, well, she's Becky Lynch. She's not Stone Cold. What I'm saying is that this was the moment to me that was like the glass shattered, and that's when you had the biggest star ever. And that just led the whole thing for the next 4 years.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Britt Baker did something similar to that, but not as long ago in AEW. Well, she did like a tables intact match or something, and it was pretty impressive in that same thing. And all of a sudden that elevated her as well. So that's good to see that Becky Lynch, because I have the WWF game on my PlayStation, and she's the man, or I'm the man. It says like, so I wrestled. And
there was a big fight.
Yeah. Well, sidebar. If you have that game and you want a really good match, Edge against the Ultimate Warrior. Whoa. I had that just a couple nights ago. Dude, it was a really good match. Yeah, I was the Warrior. Sorry, Edge. Yeah, there you go. Hey, buddy. Sorry, Edge, but yeah, I was the Warrior. But yeah, Edge, you hang in there, man. It was like, it was. And here's one thing that I see people complain about is there's too many of the finishing moves done over and over again. I think that's awesome that a guy can take like 3 finishing moves, man. It's like you have to elevate it. It can't be a leg drop and the guy's taken out.
I needed to tell you to start listening to Busted Open. You need to start listening to Busted Open and put it on your. It's Bully Ray, like Bully, Bubba.
Oh yeah,
and
the Dudley brothers, man,
and Tommy Dreamer, and it's
cool.
literally
ECW.
It's literally the breakdown of breakdowns. Like if you're like you'll listen and Bully's like they got to do it like this, they got to write it like this. It's really really great. So anyways, that women's revolution came out of there. It's fallen off a little bit. It's fallen off a little bit, and then I think It's coming back a little bit
the
now.
champion right now is Bianca Blair, and she's doing a pretty good job. She's got that huge ponytail going on there, and it's amazing. How do she wrestles with that damn thing? I can see she holds it sometimes when she's doing moves and stuff. And I don't know, dude. It's like, yeah, well, you know what I mean. It's like they're good. They're good. They got control over what they're doing. I'm pretty impressed. So, do we have our?
Karima's not here just yet. I sent her a link.
Okay, do we have our intro for our Cult of Machete or no?
Oh yeah, 1 second here. Let me just.
Because let's do some MK Ultra. Let's mind control everyone.
All right.
See, the aliens are waving at you and hypnotizing you. See them doing that?
I'm not too far away.
They're waving. Them. Boom. That's what they're doing. You're not too far away from.
I like what you just did.
You're not supposed to catch that. That was my one. I do it every episode. You caught that one. See, I was waving. I paid attention. I wanted to get your attention on that one.
Gotcha.
Okay. So last time we talked about. Can you show the building of where this was again? How creepy this was in Montreal. In between 1968 and 72, they were doing experiments in Montreal in this building that's just like 2 hours away from me on mind control. MK Ultra. They were giving people LSD, huge, high doses of LSD. Not let's go out and party doses, man. Like let's put people out for like 28 days straight, right? So we went over all that and how close it was to home. That's nuts. Now what we're moving on to today, because we ended with that rad clip of Shaq, right? Which was funny. Some of it is really funny. You got to laugh, right? And that's what you got to laugh at some of these conspiracies. You got to laugh with them. Sometimes you got to be afraid of them, but you got to laugh with them. So my point today is this was back in 1972. If they would have, and they probably have, why would they stop trying to mind control people if they had a hanker on it? Like, why would they stop? And on sidebar to this again, we have to real life supervillains, Brent?
Real life,
like real life supervillains, man. That one guy I got to do a special on because he owned everything he did. Yeah, that's right. I experimented on them. Yeah, I was funded for it. That's what I did. Why did they fire you? Because there was a disagreement. Remember that? Like, wow. So this guy, I forget his name because this was last episode. If you want to see it, just check out our last episode, man, because that was intense. But today, there's so much stuff going on with people's minds being controlled. We showed the video of Shaq, and he's just all of a sudden in live TV controlling people. Why wouldn't they continue to try and control people? What do you think, dude?
Well, I mean, my whole thing about this kind of thing and any of the conspiracy stuff. Mm-hmm. I understand where you're going as far as like why wouldn't they want to keep going, but there's so many people on either side of everything that I just feel like when that thing came out, was it the Fifth Estate, right? The Fifth Estate.
Yeah, and the details of it too were that the limitations was up, and there was actual people that were coming forward saying I was here, and kids saying I visited my mom here, and they were
I'm sure, given the current state of the world, the divide that we're all in, that there's a substantial amount of people on both sides of the equation here that think that either side is being mind controlled. Okay,
right. Do you think the government still has like a program where they're trying to mind control people? Well, kind of like our favorite show, right? Like The Boys. Are they? That's like basically MK Ultra to the next degree, right? Like that's not just controlling a mind, that's controlling a whole
here. You know what's funny about that? Okay, so I heard an interesting thing, and again, we don't get political on this thing, but
well, if it associates to it, not with the comic books, not comic book political, please.
But no, obviously we're coming up on another election soon, and Trump is kind of on the back, and Trump's like, hey, I'm gonna run again. And he's going, and I'll go real quick here, but his main nemesis is Ron DeSantis from Florida, and he's already started this like 2-year leading in campaign to fucking decredit this guy. He's a groomer. He's this, even though he is a piece of shit. But anyways, he's doing this whole thing, and Bill Maher touched on it. I just watched it yesterday. Bill Maher touched on it, saying he's already mind controlling that side. He's 2 years ahead of the game, telling everybody, because what's happening is you got people like Blondie Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's like just a psycho congresswoman, who's like, we need a divorce from the states. So you need to be like, you need to either pick red or blue. You can't be both in the state. Like she's already laying this foundation down. Yeah. So I to your point, Chris, I think that it's mind control has gotten smarter and it's working on dumb people easier. Right. You don't need to give them LSD. You don't need to give them LSD anymore. Just give them a Twitter page.
Right.
Because what happens is people. This is a great one here. I just found this. Check this out.
Just wait until conspiracy theorists discover they're part of a conspiracy to use conspiracy theorists to spread disinformation via conspiracy theories. Right.
So it's an interesting kind of like time because you don't. There was no internet back then, so if the fifth estate said it was something, then we were probably like, well, we better look into it. Or unsolved mysteries. It's like, well, that was cool, but it ended that night. No one continued down the road of investigation.
Well, on the Montreal one? No, there's many more. There's so much more. No, there was like years. It's still going on today.
On MK Ultra, yes, but I'm talking about like right now. Like people fucking drive things into the ground. You cannot get out.
You got to give me an example though, if you're going to say that something's been passed over. Like how about like the UFOs being shot down? Whatever happened to that?
Well, that's yesterday's news. Trains crashed. Wait, that's yesterday's news too.
No, again, that's wow, and that's getting even more and more out of hand. But I think again, like I just get upset when people bring politics in when we're talking comic books and movies and stuff. Like, I don't want politics in my movies and my comic book. We're not talking about that. Conspiracy theories are super political. Again, I'm fine with that. Just so viewers and that.
Yeah. But back to mind control,
So what? Yeah, so that's fine. To your point, Donald Trump has clicked into the non-drug way to mind control people, because it's amazing what they say on TV when and they must know that it's not true. Some of it, they must know when they get home.
They just busted Fox News. They just
I know. But my point is that the mind control. I'm focusing on just the mind control. I'm not the idiot factor. You know what I mean? Like that's a whole other. But the mind control factor of what these people are saying, and they're believing everything that's being told to them with the guy in the red hat. Right? Wow. Like it's. I don't condone it at all, but it's amazing the way. You could possibly be right going, okay, let's focus on, because when Donald Trump I'm watching him come up in the WWF things there when he's really, really young, and then watching his TV show, and then I'm getting old now. All right. Here's how we control people. We're off the dumb Americans. And man, the uneducated Americans, he is just like, they're following it. It's mind control to its best, but without the drugs. So imagine this. Imagine if they are still controlling people. Yeah. But here's my point to this on the side of it, which I'm funneling into, is maybe the mind control is more in the entertainment industry and not as much in the government anymore. When we're looking at my favorite guy, which I want to branch off to a little bit here, Stanley Kubrick, The Shining. There was the whole aspect of The Shining being a big government mind control experiment. And you have the gentleman at the beginning. Yeah, you have the gentleman at the beginning with the flags and the American office that shouldn't be there. And then he's talking to Jack, and then the handler comes in and walks the family around. And then you go through the whole Beatles-esque tour where they're all, and then we'll get to that one. But then you go through the whole Beatle-esque tour where it's basically the cover of the Beatles album going through the beginning of The Shining, where they're getting the tour, and the mind control hits in, and then it's the whole alcohol aspect in this one when Jack says, "I'll sell my soul for a drink," and boom, you're in. You're in, which is possibly part of his grooming and part of the mind control, which was thought in one of the Kubrick's ideas in the movie. Now, with The Shining, dude, as I mentioned, Kubrick was so bored with doing movies that he's got he's got tons of different movies in one movie there. So I'm 98% sure from my research that one of his underlying aspects was MK Ultra mind control. Now there's a poster in the room of the person skiing and it says Monarch on it, and that's Monarch mind control from Montreal. And people say that it's there. It is right there. That's a Minotaur. It's something. Ski Monarch. Yeah, it is a place probably. But you know what? Monarch is also the name for the Montreal MK Ultra mind control Monarch project. What do you think it is? I think it's probably that, because if you go through the whole deal of mind control aspects through it, and the way the whole inn and area is one big mind fuck. You know what I mean? And it just goes along more and more. It kind of makes you wonder if they're pumping something in through the inn. They're experimenting on them. They're experimenting on them. So it's just another conspiracy theory. It's not. It's another sideline to the Shining movie. Another reason why you should watch that. Now, it's also bleeded into, you were going to show. Now, look here. This is one of the biggest shows of today, man. We got our little girl there from Stranger Things, right, buddy? Yeah. MK Ultra, putting powers into people and controlling them. But it's tough. So we've started, this is great too, Brent? Because you start just mind controlling people. Then you start to control the people who have superpowers, like in the boys, right? Mm-hmm. And you usually find that you can't control them, which is always an interesting storyline. How do you control the powerful? You can't. MK Ultra needs to be more powerful. We got to control them. So it's bled into society today. So it's still underlining everything that is entertainment today, and Marvel movies especially, right? Like the whole mind control. It's an old conspiracy. But to think that they gave up on it, I can't see them giving up on it. I think the government, you're right with the government, I'm just like, here's the easier route. And they nailed it, right? The music though the music and the entertainment seems a little more like we got to control these people, because you know how much money they make off music, man, and entertainment. They make so much money off that. And if they can't control those people, there's also a lot of conspiracy theories about people and musicians and celebrities who've been killed off because they're worth more dead than they are alive, right? So why not control them? I'm not saying I'm not saying it's one way or the other, but I'm not saying what a better route is to get these guys. Like, did you see what Harry Styles wore at that last award show? How do you explain that?
I can't.
Come on, that's mind control right there, buddy.
I look
and when he went home, he had a glass of milk and called it a night. He's a good little boy.
I think that yes, it would definitely go on, because there's just so much, outside of the experimentation part of it. There's plenty of evil in the world. There's just people that are going to do it. But I just think it's gotten smarter now, and there's easier ways to do it now, instead of locking people up and jamming them with drugs. I think that someone was like, well, I mean, dude, okay, Trump said it on Howard Stern's show in like 1984 or fucking 86 or something. Mm-hmm. Howard Stern was like, would you ever run for president, or how would you run? And he goes, oh, I'd run as a Republican because they're way easier to manipulate.
Ah, nice.
That's what
he
said that. And ever since he's been doing this, everything he says, people are like, well, fuck, he said it.
Yeah. Right.
Like, he's found a way in. Like, and Bill Maher said it best. He's like, there's no way DeSantis should go up against him right now, because it's just going to get worse. He's just got to wait for him to either die or just let him do the 4 years, and then he'll be the guy, because people will be over the fucking mind control at that point. And even the people that he's been controlling will be like, yeah, I don't feel well.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy shooting my neighbor.
No. Here's the other thing about if the MK Ultra was today. I don't think you'd have to lock. If they've been working on it since the 70s, I don't think they'd have to lock people up anymore. I think it'd be more like, hey man, have a sip, like, or here's your drink you wanted, and they're like,
yeah,
cool, and then boom. I don't think it would be any kind of process anymore. I think they would have it down to a T, where it's like, unlock the safe, he's getting the dose. Like, if I'm just saying, like, if they were working on it, they would have it to the point where it was just like, hey, smell my perfume. like poison ivy kind of thing, right? But I don't know. I think it's loved. I'd love to think that's why some people are acting weird. You got to admit the Super Bowl stuff is very satanic and very. I find it very idiotic to myself. Watch her to go out there on the biggest grand stage ever and rubber crotch and sniff it and give devil signs and pyramid signs. I think it's pretty stupid. And I don't think that's entertainment. I'd rather see a rock band throw down. Hell, I'm sick of Guns N' Roses, but throw Guns N' Roses down there, a rock band that can actually throw down instead of some girl rubbing her crotch and trying to throw the Illuminati in everybody's face. Like that's what they were doing. Is if you think there's a conspiracy, we're just going to throw it in your face. Whether there is a conspiracy or not, there, Brent, they were throwing it in everybody's face. It's very evident they were, and I find that very stupid. That's not you're not entertaining me. You're not entertaining anyone. And funny enough, worst ratings and consensus ever for a Super Bowl performance by Rihanna, whatever the crotch smelling girl's name is. So I hope people move on to that and get back some rock and roll, because we don't need to see that thrown in our faces. Celebrities, that's great. You can all wear red. You can look down on us because you make millions of dollars. Fantastic. Play a guitar. Sing a song for me without your backing tracks. Other than that, not impressed.
I want to go back to Tom Cruise for a minute. I was just rereading the Seth Rogen book about him and Judd Apatow going and meeting Tom Cruise at the house, and it was really funny. But then you know what's funny? So the Scientology part where he feels like he's in a vessel, and he's not really. He feels like he's a vessel, like just in a human body, a human body. He's just a vessel. So there's that part of it where I'm like, okay, that was made up like everything else, but I mean, sure, he's going with it. But then I watch him give a speech last night at the Screen Actors Guild, where he was getting like a lifetime achievement for producing, or the Producers Awards. Right. And he's the most well-spoken dude in the history of things. To me, I'm like, if you're a vessel inside of something, are you putting the time in to make a speech that is so like genuinely great, where he's like, listen, I started as a little kid in Pennsylvania and Canada, and I always wanted to be in movies. And he tells this incredible story. He didn't think he was a Scientologist back then. He didn't become a Scientologist until he was with Mimi Rogers. So did Mimi and her team, is Scientology a mind control thing from Hollywood? I know it's a Hubbard thing, but there's a lot of people in on that, man. And Leah Remini got out, and she's like, it's fucking impossible to get out. So I wonder if Scientology is a little bit more along than we think it is.
Tom Cruise might jump off that stage and go, that's acting. You know what I mean? Like, dude, as we say, dude, like we talked about this before, man. I love Tom Cruise. I think he's a great actor. It's weird, but there are moments where I've seen him and I'm like, wow, dude, shut up. But I've seen moments myself where I'm like, oh, dude, shut up. So, you know what I mean? Everybody deals with things differently. It's hard. It's hard to give
because there's so many things that could be involved in that mind control, and the MK Ultra could be what was discovered. But then you've got all this other, if you want to if we're opening the book on this thing, and then you go into like Me Too and Harvey Weinstein, and you go into all these things, and then even Will Smith and I said when I put Ricky Gervais up there, and Ricky was like talking about, you guys are all friends with these people, with Epstein, and you're friends with Harvey, and you're covering it up, and he calls them all out in front of them, and they all sit there awkwardly. I mean, yes, I believe like the Corey Feldmans of the world were raped, and I believe that there's people but there's so many smart people in the world now, Chris. I don't understand why more aren't coming out. And
because it's the powerful people, dude. It's sad. Here's the sad thing, dude. And I think I mentioned this to you last time. I can't remember where I saw this. It was somebody smart said this. The evil people are always going to win because they're willing to kill the innocent people. The innocent people will not kill the evil people. They will give them another try. It's not going to work. It's just not. And until the human race gets intelligent enough to realize that we will succeed with, intelligence and peace more than fighting each other, because the world makes money off of war, man. And I have friends that are in the military and understand what you're doing. That's cool. But at the same time, I think, the intelligence beats out war, in the long run.
Or lack of intelligence, because it's, as I said, we're pretty easily
manipulated, man.
Manipulated.
That sucks.
And we're manipulated in every way, even when we don't want to be. Right down to our feeds, our TikTok feeds and all the rest of it. It's like, it's right down to every single aspect of what we do. And I guess you have to choose whether you want to, was it that, people are going to dive into the red pill, blue pill thing, but do you want to just like go down those rabbit holes and like be paranoid your whole life for the rest of your life about everything? Or do you just want to say, fuck it, and be like, I'll just deal with what's given to me?
Yeah. Well, the one thing I feel, and I thought that, so first I started off that way, and I was like, because I was going to the hospital with my wife when she was sick, and they always had the news on, and it was just like, oh my God, I don't want to know. And then it was like, okay, I don't want to know that. And then I started that's what they want me to know. And I was like, okay, I'm getting away. I'm going to be ignorant. I'm going to plead the fifth on this stuff. And then this is a funny story kind of. So I started watching wrestling documentaries, and I'm like, this is what was really going on back then. I had no idea. And then I started watching real life documentaries.
Yeah.
This is what was going on back then, and I had no idea. So, and from that part on to today, right now and forward, I want to be smarter. I don't want to get fed the bullshit and know too much that's going to deter me, the MK Ultra style, but I want to know when I'm being lied to. There is a part where you over question everything, but as we were saying, as John was saying, if you focus, you won't go crazy. You're right, and you can have conversations about it. So that's the thing that I've discovered. I'm just looking for who to trust, my friend.
Okay, but is it topically versus science versus everything? And I know I'm not getting into vaccinations and all this.
Okay,
shit,
no, I get
that. But is it topically, or is it you want to know more about what affects you personally?
It's what affects me. Whoever's going to be the next president of the United States, I have no control over and what he's going to do, he or she's going to do. There's no way I have control over that. Whether I believe what's going to be told to me about what's going to happen with that is up to me. Whether I believe that there is people that live on another planet is up to me. Do you know what I mean? I want to know that. I would really like to know what's being lied to me about what's outside of our planet, because I'm as I mentioned, Brent, I'm finding that I genuinely dislike a lot of people when I go out, and present company excluded, of course. I'm just like, generally when I go out, I just find I'll just overhear a conversation and be like, wow, I could, you know what I mean? Like, I would like to know more about what's out there, because I'm finding that it's very disappointing the more that I'm told and the more I learn about the people that are in charge of what's going on right now. There's that whole Dark Trudeau thing that's going on. Like, holy cow, man. Like, that guy was doing so well hiding it. It's coming out, man. He's associated with some pretty dark people that I've just discovered, which is pretty depressing, but I'm trying not to look at that. I don't believe the government. You know me, buddy. I don't believe what the government says anyway. The biggest thing that affected me was when they wanted to make dental free. That would have been huge. That was NDP. Other than that, a lot of the stuff they talk about is taxes. Taxes are going to go up. They're going to screw me either way, right? But I want to know what's out there. I want to know what's going on. Get me out of here, Brent.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely a you can get caught in it. And it can drive you crazy. Speaking of mind control, you can
focus, right?
You can just go down every single thing you click on. And every now and again, I'll find myself like, I'm pretty good about it, because I really try not to let anything bother me, even when it's like, Twitter can be a dumpster fire for like, people coming at you for various things if you decide to take a political stance on stuff.
Yeah.
But so that can wind you up if you let it. But I try not to, like, everything that went through. Like, I can only speak on my experience of the thing. You can't you can't yell at me from your porch if you've never left your porch. Okay,
live in Port Perry, because they will all yell at you from their porch.
But it's right there. Like, you can't tell me how the world works if you haven't almost been jumped by a pack of 8-year-olds in Brazil. I'm sorry, you can't do that if you're walking the streets of Barcelona and one of your crew people happens to fall back 8 feet and you guys didn't realize it, and he was on his cell phone and got the shit kicked out of him, and it happened so quick. We kept walking and didn't even know it happened. You can't tell me about politics and bullshit and vaxes and this if you've never left your fucking porch. You can't do it. And conspiracy theories as well. Like, you know what I mean?
That triggers me when people go on. Just wait until conspiracy theorists to say, "Oh yeah, yeah."
It's just playing that again because it's.
Yeah, well, there's a limit to everything, right? Like I'm seeing now, there's a big backlash against conspiracy theories, and it's probably started from the government. Like it's probably started from people who want to shut them down because you got to be selective though. You can't just wake up every day and be like, all right, man, I'm getting behind all these conspiracy theories because they're all true. Like that, there are people, I guess, that do that. But just speaking for myself, I'd be nuts if I did that. I would be crazy. As I mentioned, I love the outer world things. I love the conspiracy theory of other worlds, and you can't tell me there are not other worlds. We're not the only
I'm all the way.
Not you. I mean, in general. As far as when we discussed this before, I'm not a big ghost believer. I really don't believe in the paranormal ghost thing. I think I'm 100% sure the government's hiding like a million things from us, especially when it comes to their technology. And I would love to be more aware of their technology as well. The politics, dude, it's bullshit to me because there's either going to be a war or there's not. All that talk in between is bullshit, right? We're either fighting or we're not. You're getting people to hate each other. You're getting people to talk about it, whatever. Either we're going to war or we're not. I can't spend every day checking the news to see if they think we are, or what Putin said, or what the Americans said. That's not my conspiracy theory. You know what I mean? Like that's not me. I can't control that. I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to that, because in my opinion, neither do they. They're trying to get each other. We know, dude. They're trying to get fights. That's all they're trying to do. Which is why I want to hear more about what's out there away from humans. Yeah. So that's a conspiracy theory that I like. All right. And as I mentioned, I will talk if I won't talk about the politics much, but they are going to intertwine in what we're talking about. If you bring politics up in a comic book and a movie conversation, you're going to trigger me, as not you, but in general, not you. You know what I mean? Like that's like
Listen,
telling me the new Star Wars movies were great, and I ask why, and you say, because they were. That's the trigger. You can't do that to me. Please have some respect.
Speaking of that, did you see the post I put up on our Twitter about Sebastian Stan playing a young Luke Skywalker?
Yeah, how cool is that, dude? I love it. I love it. Oh, dude, we didn't get. So we're at the end here. We didn't get to my comic book conversation.
No, we can still. We got time. We can run.
I'm gonna rush it. I can't. We'll have to do it another time. People have to tune in again. Mind control. I love the mind control talk, because people should talk about this. And if you do want to question the government and dive right in there, by all means do it. But don't go crazy, man. But I am noticing that people are now calling out conspiracy theorists. But you can't that's like just saying, well, everybody that reads comic books sucks. It's like some people read Spider-Man, some people read Spawn, some people read adult comic books. Like the conspiracy theorists, like. There's
you know
all
who they're calling
things.
out, Chris? Chris, you know who they're calling out?
Well, the people that are adjusting the government. I know.
Because I don't think anyone people are still not calling out the alien conspiracy theorists per se, because people are like, oh, cool. It looks like we're going down that road. And so people are kind of like, cool. It's everything else that's getting called out. Yeah.
Well, I think the funniest thing is that the conspiracy theorists, the UFO ones like myself, were the first ones to go, that's not a UFO. Right. And the government that was like, oh shit, man, we gotta try harder. That didn't work. They're smarter than that. And we are. Dude, me and you talk, we're like, when we first brought that up, it was like, you know what? This is not real. But you know what is? This train exploding, right? Like we didn't even see, we were being conspiracy theorists by just being smart. That's what I think people should be. It wasn't us blaming anybody. We were just like, okay, wait a minute. The UFO thing? No. And here's why it's not. Mm-hmm. Sidebar. Anybody notice people are dying over here because this friggin' train exploded and everybody's trying to cover it up? And then we get our gentleman on there from our network who is super knowledgeable on it.
Mr.
Ryan.
Henley, thank you, Ryan.
And boom. Next thing you know, we're talking some good schmack.
It happens like that. It just kind of happens. No, but it happens fast.
That's I like that. Mm-hmm. But as far as trying to change who's the government stuff and who's doing what, and I can't go down that. I can't go down that. Okay,
I can't spend my energy in that space.
I know.
I can't do it.
And there are people on the network that do it, though. There's people on the network that have the patience for it and do it amazingly. And I was discussing that at the res at the shop that I go to, about a couple of our folks and how brave they were, and just how they get, just not to get, and they're polite about it. You know what I mean? But and how the me and the other person there just couldn't do that. You know, but it was good for them. Everybody has a role.
There's a role on, there's a rule on tour. It's like, it used to be no politics and no religion. That was sort of like the thing. Cause
that was always the rule when you were a kid too, back when I was a kid.
Then you had to add all this other stuff. But now there's so many fucking levels of stuff.
Yeah.
That it's the quietest tours ever now. Unless you're, hanging in the bar, getting wasted and listening to the same stories every time. It's the quietest thing because people used to talk about everything, and now everyone's afraid to talk about anything.
Yeah,
because you get guys going, "This is fuck. How can you fucking?" And I'm sure on a country tour, it's very one-sided conversation about certain things. Right. But on a tour that's probably a little bit more leaning in a friendlier kind of aspect of things, everyone's just like a little bit on edge about what to say about things.
Well, you know what, buddy? We'll end on that note because sadly, that is probably the biggest MK Ultra right there. Is how the government was just made. From like when we were kids, man, we just didn't talk about it, and that was cool. But nowadays, the MK Ultra, the natural MK Ultra effect that you've discovered, it's working. Bastards.
We got to go back. We got to take it all the way back to Seinfeld because there's the episode with Newman and Kramer when they got the hansom cab, right? When they got
that was great too.
Right? And they're trying the guys out, and they're trying the guys out, and the homeless guy on the street is like, the government. You
control the mail. You control the information.
That's right. So, anyways, everybody.
That was rad. I love the conspiracy. I love the conspiracy theories. Next time, I'll get the comics, or I'll do like an extended. This comic right here, $6, and I love it. That's great. This was $1. This is Iron Man number 117 from like 1978, man. I don't know which one. I know you love the Ghost Rider, Brent, but look at that. Like, if you had to pick one of these up.
Well, okay. One more question to that then. Everyone's playing Bitcoin, trading, doing all the things right now, but I think people are ignoring, and you've brought this up before on all the shows, is that the comics of the characters that are deep into the Marvel universe that no one thought of, and then how much money did the WandaVision create for the Scarlet Witch, and that
started in X-Men. She first appeared in X-Men. Yeah,
that would be a great episode. We need to bring Scott from the Hot Wallet podcast on, who does Bitcoin and crypto on the network, and then talk about like this kind of investment, because you on the other side of it, you could be like, all right, everybody, listen, this movie's coming out, and this movie's coming out. You need to start searching for comics that feature this person, because as soon as they hit, they're going to go. That's just as valuable as Bitcoin and NFTs and stuff like that.
We'll ponder that. I gotta show them where to get these dollar deals though next time. Because it's like how do you get dollar comics? It's doable.
It's there.
It is. All right.
This has been live from a Shady Comics, from Brazil and Kingston. We're covering all the grounds.
Yeah, I'm in Ontario, so we should change it up tonight. Party on.
Be excellent to each other.
There you go. I love it. Yeah, beautiful.
On the Crier Media Network, thank you everybody for tuning in and cheering it on, and maybe we'll bring Kareem on next week.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Cheers,
awesome
everyone.
Stuff, everybody. Enjoy.
See ya.
All right.